Some heavy skies and some pounding swell has arrived here in Rio de Janeiro. We are in our 9th day of the window, and it is a full day of competition ahead, with round 3 unfolding now at the halfway mark. Heat 6 out in the water, an all Brazilian encounter. The world junior champion Lucas Silveira will take on our reigning world champion Adriano de Souza. Adriano de Souza, the 13 on his back. That is his jersey number. It also happens to be his ranking on the Jeep leaderboard, uncharacteristically low for a surfer that completely held that race to the end in 2015. Match time.
Well, and you remember Lucas ended up picking up a wave at the very end of that heat. I mean, Adriano surfed a brilliant heat, but it just came down to one wave at the end.
Adriano de Souza had to work his way through round 2, getting past Bino Lopez. Hard-working, gentlemanly Adriano de Souza, a very deserving world champion for his application, focus, and here he goes on the backhand. Seeks out a little pocket, and he'll just go down. So tricky rip bowls here, a lot of cross currents moving through the lineup, and Lucas Silveira will pick up a right-hander. Little in and out, so both the Brazilians going to a work rate really early on.
Yeah, it's that early, get quick, get pressure on your competitor, find those early scores. Running a left here, the big float comes around the corner, tags it. This would have been a pretty good wave had he been able to pull this last move on, but he had to chase it down and then just stumbles as that water moving out through the rib actually affects the maneuver, and also affects the line in which you have to take.
Like find a way to pull the trigger on, but yeah, that wave came at the end and I just kind of did a couple little snaps and rode it to the inside, and I only needed a 5:01, so I didn't have to do much, but yeah, day's good now.
You don't necessarily, I mean, I recall back in the years I compete, and as we'll get back to that.
All right, here we go. Adriano, sleepy start to 2015, and he'll go to the air, unashamedly trying to boost, but meanwhile Lucas Silveira will be part of the exchange, and he hangs on for a critical backhand dump. And talking about Lucas Silveira, and he's not scared of the big stuff, so we'll go to those replays.
Yeah, well, he's done the Piahi and done the big wave stuff all on the North Shore, as you see it. Nice two-wave combination, or two-turn combination for Lucas Silveira. I like what Adriano was thinking here. Let's go to the air. That's how you're going to get big scores.
The biggest prize of it all, the world title in 2015. Bit of a sleepy start here, a bit of a what they call the world title hangover. But now that he's picked out a nice opportunity, and that is very crisp surfing from Adriano, as you'd expect. Hasn't shown a lot of it in 2016, Pete. He comes into the ranking 13th. Let's have a look at his biggest year on tour last year, 2000. Let's go to replay. We start the discussion about his big year next year, but let's have a look at this.
Well, he gets the nice little tap and sets up this section, goes up vertical. And when you get that board whipping around from all the way at the top, the nose pointing straight up at 12 o'clock and whipping it all the way back down to 6, that's a full arc. Judges love that commitment.
Initial world title after lots of campaigning. Let's have a look at some numbers, Pete, as they come in. Lucas Silveira's 2 backhand snaps. Well, let's have a look at this here. Little opportunity in and out for de Souza, but the 2 backhand hits for Lucas Silveira for a 6.33. Adriano de Souza a 4.67 on the backhand, and the drug-aware Margaret River Pro. Now Lucas Silveira starting to look for a small number here, just a 3.51 to attack de Souza's lead. Ryder Wasilewski will be down there checking out the water levels.
Yeah, definitely a lot of tide coming in, the swell rising up, and we've got a high tide on the way. So with action heating up out in the water's rushing up as we speak right now under my feet. That's coming right in here, and the crowd loves it. Everybody's enjoying it, but there's not a lot of room down here on the beach up against the scaffolding and all of the fence lines here for the competitors area. So as the day goes on, it might get less and less as the swell's still pumping.
Let's have a look at Adriano de Souza's while Strada was giving us the update on conditions. This is what de Souza found, Pete.
Nice little arc to start this wave off. Good wave choice, big float, and controls it. So that is a good score. It's going to come in probably in the excellent range.
So Hayden Shapes bringing the gift of surfing here to Brazil with that equipment. becoming part of that crowdsourcing. We love these interactive.
You know, this is the type of experience that no matter what, even if he comes out of this heat with a loss, ultimately he's going to be learning how to deal with that feeling and how to suppress the anxiety and to make good choices. 2005, 6 and 7, finishing 17th, which is at that point in time was the third round. You know, that's a tough result being on your home soil.
Yeah, 2008, De Souza finishing 7th on the championship tour. Improved in 2009 for a 5th place finish as Lucas Silveira.
Excited.
Yeah. Up until that point, Pete, just a .83 in the scoreline for Lucas.
Well, let's take a look at it. Mid-range set here. Little left-hander goes up vertical, comes down clean. Next section, attacks it. Gets that nose whipping around. So straight back into, again, nice connection with the lip. Straight back into another turn, a connection one more time, pushing the fins up and over, pushing that nose down. You know, when you've got two Brazilians going back to back, why not be me, the third? You know, and he's in contention here. He is by far one of the surfers that can surf all of the events on tour and could conceivably win.
De Souza has left Silveira way down the beach, so Lucas, little in and out for him. Adriano De Souza holding that priority. And little look, gassing waves here in Rio de Janeiro. And Silveira will get an opportunity. Open face carve. He's done well at Sunset Beach before. Now watch the play on the priority. There we go. Little disruption, and he's allowed to do that. And De Souza, two-turn, will just rocket up that whitewater section. So that's a really interesting play on the use of priority there, Pete. Perfect unfolding for the explanation for our audience.
So Lucas and Adriano will both get scores here. So takes off on the outside. Lucas getting this first section here. Lays into a little layback snap. Drops in, tags it vertical, but has to stay out of the way and goes down. So that's not going to be completed maneuver. He knew in his eyes that he saw Adriano dropping in there. Does not want to interfere at all with Adriano's score. And he didn't. But it's not going to be enough. He's not going to improve his situation because he fell on that turn. He only did the one turn there. Educated and brilliant game.
Totally legal use of the priority rule. Can't display that better. Now here we go, opportunity for Lucas. He'll go to the air, double hand grab, and he'll just go over the side rail with momentum. Enough time for him possibly, depends on the ocean of course, as De Souza will sled out the back on a previous ride. Judges will owe him a score though as well. That single maneuver, here we go, backhand, 30 seconds to go, and Silveira doesn't like the opportunity.
Well, now that scores in for the last of Lucas.
Well, that big maneuver that Adriano blocked off, Peter, 383 just for that one maneuver. So not in his top two, but judges, as you said, did owe him a score for that. And a 463 for Adriano De Souza when we saw the two surfers using one wave.
The fact on that,
yeah.
Adriano, so brilliant being that he used that priority to take that away from Lucas, because ultimately, if Lucas pulled that move and then finished with a finish move, it would have been lights out. Adriano would be losing in round 3.